A little practical information. We have the 2 top floors of this building, so this floor and the floor below, and we can use basically all of it. There are quite a few rooms, like in there, and the small rooms downstairs. If anyone needs a place to work or to chat or to go together with some others and hack on Mojolicious stuff or something, you can just do that, find a room. There are toilets inside that room, and to the right there's a toilet. There's also a toilet on the floor below on that side. Otherwise, there are more toilets in the first floor, in the ground floor. So there is also an emergency exit or back stairs there that you also can take down to the bottommost restrooms. At 12 o'clock, we'll have lunch on the floor below here. Should we say anything about the menu? I think there'll be lasagna and chicken, and some other stuff. Anyway, that'll just be set out on the floor below. Other than that, there's coffee. We'll try to keep the coffee cans full downstairs. There's also water there and some soda. That's it for practical information, I think. No, any questions about the practical side? Then I'll give the word over to our keynote speaker here, Brian Defoe.
Yes, thank you. I'm very happy to be back in Oslo. The first time I did the Nordic Perl workshop here, I got into the hotel after flying in from the US. I said, I'll just sit at the desk and I'll work until it's night, and then I'll get some sleep. And then the sun was still up, it was 2 a.m., and that didn't quite work out. Anyway, thank you for being at Mojoconf, and thank you to everyone who is watching us on live stream on YouTube. It's too bad you can't see the thousands of people in this stadium who are here for this talk. I'm not really going to show you much code, but you're probably used to that. If you're using Mojolicious, which is a big topic here, you do a lot of stuff in a little bit of code. So I couldn't fill out the slides, so I'm just going to have all this copyright infringement right there on there. But I'm going to say it's fair use, so it's going to be fine. I want to tell you a story about a job I had a long time ago that ended up being really interesting and made me a lot of money, made a bunch of other people a whole lot of money, and it all came down to the fact that Mojo allowed me to do it in about 4 hours. So to start this thing, I was sitting at home. I think this is actually Christmas Eve, and I think this was 2010, but I don't remember. If I get the details wrong in the talk, don't worry about it so much, because it sounds better in my head the way I tell it. And I'm not going to really betray the details anyway. But Christmas is that time that you're sitting at home, no one's bothering you, all the email goes dead, you don't have to respond to anything, no new projects are coming out. So, oh, I can now get to my projects. But no, I get this call from one of my longtime customers. Hey, we got this thing we need to do. Okay, that's kind of weird that you're calling me on Christmas Eve. When do you need it? It's like, yesterday. Okay, so you need this thing yesterday, it's Christmas, I was going to do all my sort of fun stuff. Oops. Good news, everybody. I said, okay, tell me about this project, what's going on? This was a huge company. Oops, getting used to my new pointer. This is a huge company that installs stuff all over the world, and then this is actual hardware. They're actually selling things that they have to deliver and unwrap and install and attach cables to and all sorts of stuff like this. But when you do that sort of thing on that sort of scale, to get your money, you have to prove that the stuff is working like you said it did. So they have all these things People have probably heard KPI, key performance indicators, or whatever it is. So they need to make sure that, hey, the stuff that we just gave you that is sitting next to the stuff that you're still using actually works better and works as advertised. So they're doing this with thousands and thousands of machines spread out all over the place. They've had a bunch of people working to make these reports, and it hasn't got done. If they don't get this thing done by the end of the year, by December 31st, they're going to miss a $250 million payment. Okay, so there's a lot of things to know when you're quoting a software project. And those of you who work on your own or have to make up the price that you put on the thing, the estimate, often that number seems to have no connection to with the work that you're actually going to do. How much work am I going to do? How many hours am I going to spend on this? How many people are going to be involved? No, you think about who's asking me. So I've got this bigwig from this company calling me. Now, he was a couple of levels above my normal contact. Okay, so that's already important. So this guy has deeper pockets than the guy I normally talk to. And the guy I normally talk to is paying me quite a bit to do the stuff that I was doing for them. One of the things to realize any time that you're doing work is that depending on the level you're talking to, not only do they have a price ceiling, but the level probably has a price floor. If you're a senior vice president in a company and someone's talking to you about a job that takes a couple $1,000s to do, you're wasting their time. However, if you know their floor, and this floor was $50,000, that gets their interest. Yeah, that's something I can sign off on. That's something that makes me look good. That's something I put into my performance review, that I managed this project that took this much money and all this. And they don't care if I do it myself, if I hire 100 people, if I outsource it, they just want the thing done. So I knew this, and I knew this because I had talked to these customers a lot, and the guy who called me up said, this is the level it's at, and this happens to be the floor. So I said, okay. And then I do another thing that I like to do with customers in these sort of situations. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can get it done. So how about if I get it done, you pay me this big number, or you don't pay for it at all. That closes a deal. It makes it really easy for the people at that level to say, hey, no risk. I can do this, and if we get it done, I pay for it, but you know, what's that big number compared to $250 million? That guy has the budget for that sort of thing. So this is going to be sort of interesting. They actually went for it. I was surprised. I would figure there'd be another level of sign-up or something like this. So the thing we need to do is talk to all of these servers that have this data, take all that data back, and what does business run on? Does anyone know? It's Microsoft Excel. So you've got to, if you can make Excel spreadsheets, you're the golden boy of the organization. I'm surprised how many programmers can't make an Excel spreadsheet with their program. So you've got to make a bunch of these. And we got to then deliver these. And we're talking several thousand different Excel things, and they're all very complicated, and they have formulas in them and colors that need to be in the right places, and stuff has to be in particular cells. It sounds like black magic that can come out of a program that I can write. I mean, you guys have probably, how many people have done or written a program that makes Excel spreadsheets? Yeah, see, everyone. How many people tell other people how easy it is? Yeah, you see hardly anyone. Okay, now the trick is they have to do this every day. They have to make these several thousand spreadsheets. How many minutes are in a day? Right under 1,500. 1440, I think, is the number. So I've got to hit these servers, make these reports, and I've got about a minute to do that in. If I do it, if I take longer than a minute to make that report, I'm not going to make all the reports I need to make that day. Okay, so that's interesting. How long are they taking to do now? I said, oh, we're trying now, and it's about 5 minutes per report, so we're only getting about a third of the way through this thing. Oh, so what are those people doing? Who can I talk to those people? Can I find out what's going on there? I said, yeah, we got this 10-person team that's doing C# that have been working on this for 8 months. They can't get it done. Now this is why they're talking to me at Christmas. I don't know what goes on in other languages. I don't know what goes on in the Microsoft world. But 8 people or 10 people, 8 months, and you can't make some web requests and make some Excel spreadsheets? I mean, where does Excel come from? It's that world. You're supposed to be able to hook up to that stuff really nicely. But it wasn't happening. And they were in panic mode. And of course, panic mode is a time that you milk the situation for all it's worth. So what's happening on the other side, apparently, is there's a CGI script that is written mostly in Gawk and Shell. I don't know how that works, but I didn't get to see it because they wouldn't show it to me. That parses a multi-gigabyte file, extracts the data that you want, puts it in a nice big XML thing for you, and ships it back to you. Okay, so there's one spreadsheet. Oh, hey, I want another one. Oh, hey, let's go back through all that data again. We'll pull out the things you need. Oh, but I need to do this 1,500 times, so the more you hit the shell script that's running a CGI on the, I don't know what sort of server they had, it starts to slow down. I'm not going to make it. So I got one request, fine. I can get that in about like a minute and a half. That's fine. Oh, but I do 2 requests at the same time, which is about what I need to do to make all the sheets. Oh, now they take 3 minutes, both of them. Not serially, but just both of them take 3 minutes. So that's 6 minutes of time. And then, oh, now if I expand that out, is exponentially getting slower and slower and slower and slower. Oh, this isn't good. And I haven't even looked at this thing yet, and I'm thinking, this is going to be my fun project, and I'm probably not going to get paid because I'm not going to be able to make this work. But who knows? Okay, the whole thing is a big political mess. If you want to find out what's going on with the stuff you have to deliver to some company, someone in that company already knows what the answer is, but no one's listening to them. So I found that person. I found the way to do this. His boss, that's not his boss there, that's just a character from a cartoon. But I'm not going to make any association there because you can decide. And I hadn't, and this I think was for about 2 weeks of time. It makes a bunch of data. Okay, I see what the response time is at. I see what the response time, when I hit it with a bunch of different requests at the same time, I start making some graphs. Charts. I used to be a physicist, so what physicists do are they make charts. There is some stuff where we have to deal with the natural world, but that's secondary to the chart making. So I make a bunch of charts, and I see some curves, and I see, okay, oh, here's a great sweet spot. And Mojo's making this really nice. There's hardly any code. I don't really have any code to put on here because you'll see it, the one code slide coming up later. It makes it really easy. You just fire off some requests, you get it back, a callback runs, and stuff magically happens. Out comes an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so I figure out if I get these 2 weeks of data, instead of asking for 2 weeks of data, if I ask for 4 days worth of data, that request is 20 seconds. And if I ask for 4 times 4 days worth of data, it's still about 20, 25 seconds. So the problem I'm having is this, it's the number of days that you're asking for and then hammering the server when it hasn't finished something yet. 4 days was a sweet spot. I can go wide, and then I can let all those things come down, and it's sort of like I wouldn't call it map reduce, but it's the same sort of idea, a bunch of things that are going to combine the results, and you're going to get your results, and you're going to get your spreadsheet, and you're going to get 3,000 of them in a day, and everyone's going to be happy. I'm going to get paid. They're going to get paid. So far, so good. Okay. Oh, here's the code. Here's the code slide. That almost went flying. My previous slide clicker, this is a brand new one, was much wider. So this one is probably going to end up on the other side of that curtain. So there it is. I'm not going to explain all the Mojo stuff to you. That's basically it. And I didn't even actually check to see if that compiled, so it's probably close. But you do some sort of request, you give it a URL, you give it a code reference, then that goes off and it does all of its stuff, and you can start as many of those with the various IO loop stuff things that you like, and they can all run and do their things, and as data comes in, you can then put it back together. Okay? Not very interesting. It's just work. It's just stuff you have to do to get this going. But that is nice. I mean, that's the only module that I have to load to do that. Mojolicious is one of my new favorite things because I just say whatever particular module I'm using, and then I forget to load all the other stuff I'm using, but then it ends up already loaded somewhere. LWP is still very nice, and I still like it, but I would have to load some extra stuff to make that work. And plus, I don't get all the nice stuff that goes with it. Okay, so this works out. I've got stuff going wide. I got a bunch of requests going on at the same time. They are getting small bits of data. The callbacks are talking to each other to put those things back together. Spreadsheets are coming out. So we get the, oh, I think this got cut off a little bit. We start at the top, we just take the date ranges, we segment it somehow. I don't know what the code is. I actually deleted this code a couple of months ago because like I was cleaning out stuff. I'm like, I'm never gonna need this stuff again. And then I was like, oh, I'll go to Mojoconf and talk about this. It's like, oh. Then make some URLs, and it's very nice using Mojo URL to play around with things because you say, oh, here, just put this in the query and you get a new one, and then you go through each of those, and you don't have to do it for each. I just did that because the hard thing is writing interesting code that actually fits on a slide that someone in the back row can see. So that's just a simplified version, but that's the structure. That's it. I mean, that's the program. The rest of it is just the support stuff to make that little task happen. Okay, so now I got all these things out. They're all happening in parallel. They're all doing these amazing things, and it works. Okay, this is 4 hours after I started. I'm done. Team of 10 people working for 8 months in C#, and I didn't even know this was going to work. I mean, this is the first thing I tried. And it's not particularly that Mojo had some sort of secret sauce. It made it easy to do it. I was interested in doing it because it looked like a lot of fun. But the first thing I tried worked. In normal situations, one of the rules for doing business is you don't tell people when you're done. Okay, you can have that business advice for free. So I got this done in 4 hours before Christmas, and then I had the weekend to say, oh, I have this idea, I have that idea. So I go around, I document the whole thing, I test it, 100% test coverage, deliver this thing. I made it tunable so they can decide the date range, the date width they want, how many days, and how many cloud servers they want to use at one time. So that was all in there, and I got this, I delivered it, all with the documentation. And they were very happy, they ran it. It made all of their reports, the several thousand of them, about half a day. The relief that you could just feel over the phone, realizing they're going to get their $250 million. And my masking that I was going to get paid, and it was going to be a very, very good Christmas. It was very nice. But again, it wasn't necessarily anything that I did. I didn't have any special knowledge. This is something that I think anyone in this room would probably have reached for and done, but it worked out. Okay, this is the other big part of the program. So you saw the first half of the program, that was the fetch stuff. All the rest of the stuff is right there. And I don't even know if that's the module I used or if that's the module we use now. I haven't made a spreadsheet maybe in a year. What's the new one? Do you maintain them, Joel? Oh, I thought you did. I use them. Oh, okay. No, don't worry about it. Maybe you just talked about it a bit. But you take that in there, you get it, you can put some cells in some places, you can make some colors. That's the only feedback they had. Oh, the yellow in this row is off. Because you have to get feedback from something, right? If you get something and it's perfect, there has to be something that you have to note. Because otherwise it doesn't look like you're managing. That yellow is off, or that needs to be bold, or whatever. That's fine, I can do all that. I'll get back to you. It was just, so anyway, so it works. So you get this feeling like you're walking out to get on the spaceship, to go to the asteroid, to blow the thing up, and everyone's going to be a hero. Okay. Now, they let this run for a few days to check things, because they can't just send off all these reports to their, I just wanted to see where the syntax error was. This actually worked. I typed a program in without an error. Okay, so we have these situations. I said, that's fine. I didn't really know the data. I don't understand the domain. I don't work here. I don't know what all these things are. I know there's going to be situations that I just don't know about, that no one knows to tell me about, because to them, it's just everyday stuff. They expect everybody to know this. And so we start looking at the data, and these are basically router configurations. And so, you know, you have routers, and then there's the edge of a network, and then there's that traffic doesn't go where it's supposed to in those little corners. No one even notices. Like, oh, wait, that's still connected to the network? How did that happen? Here, revoke that privilege, or whatever it is. So I start finding that. Now, this is the interesting thing, because I actually wrote to the guy I worked with this week to say, hey, I'm going to give this talk at Mojoconf. And I just, how's that stuff going? I haven't talked to you in a couple years. This thing had been running without modification. This report generator had been running without modification for about 7 years. And I think that's kind of weird. Like, you guys never like wanted a new feature or something, or like didn't like the output or wanted to change something? That always sort of makes me nervous. Something I wrote ran without modification for a long, long time. Either no one cared. I mean, I don't care. I got paid. They got paid. Or wow, man, I really did a good job on that. On this one, I think I did a good job. There's, you know, there's those programs you write in your career maybe 2 or 3 times. You're like, wow, I did a really good job on that. I've had that maybe 3 times in 30 years, and this was one of them. I was really proud of that. It was completely documented, complete test coverage, all this sort of stuff. Delivered it. It worked. It actually did something that got people money. That was really nice. But then this guy tells me they took it out of service last year. They got tired of fixing the router configs. They didn't want to know, and they didn't really need it anymore. They got the money. It was designed for a single-use thing, 10 years ago. They got the money for that, and they had just kept running it to get the reports because they just wanted to see them. But they don't want to fix their routers all over the place. It's awful when you write the good program and the thing that kills it is that no one wants to fix their bad data. And that's what happens, right? That's what happens in most programming, where you had this fabulous idea. You had this great structure, you had this great flow, you had this great concept of how everyone fit together, but then, there's this case. And so you write if something, and then then there's this other case. And then that's where everything goes wrong. In fact, I just talked to one of my friends in New York. He just did a code review with his junior developer. His code, he said, started off to be this long. When they got done, it was about this long, because they just decomposed it, and now we didn't have to have if all over the place. If this situation, if the same situation, if the same situation. That's going to be interesting. I'll talk about that more in a minute, though. Okay.